Powered by Riverside FM.
Powered by Riverside.
To the UP like and subscribe button. Let's get to it. If you haven't seen the Tom Brady roast, you got to watch it. It is a guilty pleasure. I'm kind of torn on it. I'm kind of torn if I want to see my role model athletes in that type of environment. Like, I'm kind of torn. It was weird to see certain people that you see in a certain light talk a little bit nasty, curse, make you uncomfortable. For those of you that have seen it, do you like it? It was a little uncomfortable. It was kind of weird. And the reason why I say it was a guilty pleasure is because I kind of liked it. It was kind of funny. Like, there was a lot of good jokes out there. Kevin Hart did a fantastic job hosting it. I mean, truly perfect performance. He warned everybody right at the beginning, hey, if you come after me during the roast, I got my comedy guns out. I'm coming right back after you. And really, nobody was off limits the other night during the roast. If you haven't seen it, it is worth it. But I'm warning you right now, it's going to make you uncomfortable. And so, as a fan of sports and someone that has grown up to idolize certain players, and I don't know what side of the coin you fall on. Some people say, well, you shouldn't idolize athletes. They're not role models. Your parents are your role models. You know, all the canned answers that people give. And yeah, I know all that. But the reality is, you see these men and women on TV and you grow a fondness for them through their athletic ability or through their acting or whatever. So you think of them in a certain light. And when you had this roast on the other night, it just put some people that you held up on a higher pedestal in a different light. That's what was kind of weird about it. The roaster of the night was Nikki Glazer. And anyone that follows her comedy knows that she can get a little bit raunchy. She's got great timing. I think she's one of the most comedic geniuses out there. Every time I watch one of her stand-ups or I see her in an interview or I see her on a show, I laugh. She has no filter. So to see her get up there and talk about almost everybody in the room and save the best for last for Tom Brady, it was absolutely fantastic. I won't ruin it for you. Some of the content that was said in there, you just got to go watch it. I probably wouldn't get away with using that type of language on this show anyway. But you got to go watch it. Again, Kevin Hart was absolutely fantastic. You know who was really surprisingly good? Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is starting to change his persona. You know, all you see from Bill Belichick, or all that you have seen during his whole career, is someone that gives one-word answers at the mic and someone that talks like, you know, to the next game. That's been Bill Belichick. And he's been great on the NFL draft to come and do a roast like this, especially something honoring Tom Brady, where you thought the relationship was maybe fractured. You know, there's always been like this pull or tug of who made the Patriots great. Was it Bill Belichick or was it Tom Brady? And so Tom Brady went on to win a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, And Bill Belichick just hasn't been that great, and now he's kind of out of a job. And I have no idea. Here's the deal. He got roasted a little bit last night, Bill Belichick did, because he doesn't have a job. So a lot of people came after him. But let me tell you something. Bill Belichick's not going to have a problem getting a coaching job if he wants one. I'm just telling you. But I thought he was really surprisingly good last night. Gronk, really funny. Gronk had to sit there for the longest time and just take darts. And everybody attacked his intelligence. Like he's this big caveman that has an IQ of 2. That was every roaster that stepped up there roasted him the other night. And it was funny. And to Gronk's credit, he was a really good sport. He sat there and took it. But oh boy, when it was his turn to stand up and roast Tom Brady and the people in the room, did he get after it? And boy, was it uncomfortable. It was absolutely uncomfortable. Dana White, president of the UFC, was there. I'm surprised that out of all the inappropriate, uncomfortable jokes of the night, I thought Dana White got off pretty easy. He's been in the news. He had that altercation with his wife on film. Like that was caught on film. And so I thought that was fair game. So I thought he got off pretty easy. I thought it was interesting during the roast that Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, who, if you followed him in the news the past few years, he's been in trouble for being at massage parlors, got caught, things of that sort. And that got hit on a little bit during the roast. And out of all the jokes that were told, Tom Brady shut that down right away. He went over and whispered to the comedian, "Don't say that stuff again." Like during the show, out of all the jokes, and everybody was fair game except for Robert Kraft. I thought that was the most interesting thing that happened that night. Why would Tom Brady do this roast? Like he's moved on to greener pastures. One of the greatest, if not the greatest football player to ever play. It's going to be a commentator next year. Why would you decide to do a roast? I mean, it was rough. They attacked marriage stuff and sexuality and things that he did as a football player. And I mean, it was pretty rough. I don't understand why anybody in their right mind would ever sign up to do a roast, especially with Kevin Hart hosting and some of the roasters where this is just what they do. They are professional roasters. So I don't understand why Tom Brady would sign up for. Would you sign up for a roast? I mean, think about it. I don't think I could sign up for a roast unless I had restrictions on what people could talk about, and then it's not a roast. So my question is no. My answer is no. But my question to you is, would you sign up to do a roast? Think about that. Put it in the comments. Would you ever sign up to do a roast like Tom Brady did? You know who else was surprisingly good? Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian was surprisingly good. And I know she is, a media person. She's got a reality shows. She's always in the news, big part of, any current event that's going on, big fashion person, daughter of a famous lawyer. So she's always in the news and she's always comfortable being up front and around people. But she was actually a comedian last night. I thought she was absolutely fantastic. I'm torn about the roast. It is why I wanted to talk about it today because I enjoyed it thoroughly from an entertainment standpoint, but there's also a part of me that doesn't know if I like to see my athletes in that type of environment talking that way. I mean, it was some crass stuff. Like, there are curse words. Curse words are curse words. But some of the other things that they were talking about was really crass. Do you want to see your hero? Like, Tom Brady has a certain persona about him. It was really weird and interesting to see him talk about certain things. And I won't go into detail. You just got to watch it. But it was just kind of weird to see him talk about certain things. The same, Julian Edelman, same deal. You know, you have these guys that have built their brand kind of. And again, it's one thing to use foul language, but it's another thing to talk about certain topics. Like, that was weird. Bill Belichick, the same. Bill Belichick, to me, has always been a football coach. You know he's a hard ass. You know he curses in practice. You know he gets in people's faces. But there are certain things that I don't want to hear Bill Belichick talk about. It's kind of like our president of the United States. The president of the United States has always been kind of this, clean cut guy. And I know there's been scandals and I know there's been all that kind of stuff, but that's kind of, there's usually a filter and, all that stuff gets pushed to the back. But, when those audio clips came out of President Trump, to hear him say certain things, it was just kind of weird. And I know everybody has their lives and everybody talks like that, but I just think with their certain jobs and people that build their brands a certain way, it's just weird to hear them talk about certain things. So when it comes to these roasts, if these roasts are going to be to that level, I'm torn about. I'm torn about. Peyton Manning, during the roast, I thought he was very funny. But the thing about Peyton is that he's never going to destroy his brand. Peyton Manning came across as funny, but he was still clean cut Peyton Manning. And that's about as raunchy as Peyton Manning is ever going to get, what you saw on the roast. And it didn't come close to some of the other people. I mean, so I thought Peyton Manning kept in control of his brand. I was really interested when I heard that he spoke at the roast. I said to myself, I got to hear Peyton Manning, because if Peyton Manning would have came out throwing F-bombs and talking about sexuality and all that stuff, that would have blew my mind, because he's always been that clean-cut guy. Do you want to see your favorite athletes and your favorite actors do these roasts? And for those of you who are not familiar with roasts and probably have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm telling you right now, if you don't have Netflix, get Netflix and watch the Tom Brady roast. For some of you who have never seen a roast, it's going to blow your mind. Be prepared to be uncomfortable. But it was entertaining. My wife and I sat and watched it, and there were a lot of cringe-worthy moments, and there were times where we were uncomfortable, but boy, was it fun. And boy, was it funny. I'm just a little torn. I keep saying that, but I'm just a little torn. All the UP Nation people out there, when you watch the Tom Brady roast, just shoot me some comments. Send me an email. You guys have been really good at that. Let me know what you think. Like, I'm interested. Do you want to see more of this? They said during the show that this wouldn't be the last one. And if this isn't the last one, who would you like to see roasted next? That's interesting. Randy Moss was there, and he got up to try to roast Tom Brady, and he wasn't too inappropriate. I don't think he got the idea of what a roast is. I think personally he's just uncomfortable talking about people. But he looked several times when the camera panned to him when certain jokes were said, especially when they came at him, he looked a little bit uncomfortable. See, Randy's a country boy. He's a country guy. And so he has those ethics and those morals. And so I think this roast made him a little bit uncomfortable. Oh boy, but was it entertaining. I had to watch it because it was just blowing up in the news. So I said, I got to talk to my UP Nation people about the Tom Brady roast. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. I thought Nikki Glazer stole the show. She did a fantastic job, and I thought Kevin Hart did a fantastic job hosting it. I just don't know if I want to see my favorite athletes, the icons, get roasted and stand up in front of people and use all type of foul language. It's just weird. It just came across as weird, but it was different and funny. So if you haven't had the opportunity to watch the Tom Brady roast, please do so. But I'm just getting you prepared. You're either going to like it or it's going to make you so uncomfortable that you turn it off. And you've heard probably several comics out there that use all type of language, but it's different than making you uncomfortable. And I thought there were certain times during this Netflix event, and it was a live event, so they couldn't really, and from what I heard, it wasn't on a delay. You know, anything and everything could be said. And so it hit home in a lot of ways. Tom Brady has already came out and said that he regrets doing it. He thought it would be fun, but what he didn't expect is the way it affected his kids and the way it affected his ex-wife. See, what happens is these jokes go viral, and they were all over the divorce. They were all over Giselle. They were all over her new boyfriend, this jiu-jitsu teacher, or whoever it was. And people don't know. You know, this is the age of social media. Everybody has a phone. His kids have to hear that from their friends. And so that's probably something that he never even thought about. And so when you do something like this, you never know where the jokes are going to hit home and who's going to relay some of the things that are being said to your family. And he already regrets doing that. He said if asked again, he probably would never do another roast. And quite frankly, the way they were hitting and you know the targets that they were hitting, and no jokes really were barred except for the joke on Robert Kraft and his massages. I don't know if I would want to do that. And I think Tom Brady learned a valuable lesson. I think what it's going to do is open the eyes of a lot of celebrities out there that may be thinking about doing a roast. And you got to have tough skin. I mean, you got to have tough skin. And I thought overall Tom Brady did a good job. He just didn't know how it would affect his family. So I'm thinking he's having some buyer's remorse on the roast. So if you haven't had a chance to watch it, I would suggest, you know, even if you're not a fan of roasts or you've never seen a roast, you know, there's no harm in doing something once to see where you stand with it. Personally, I don't think roasts are my thing. It's not something that I would watch all the time. For this one time, it was good to watch. I see how hard hitting they are, and it was humorous. I was entertained. I think my wife was entertained too. A lot of fun, but I don't know if I would do one. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Over 2,000 subscribers. You peers from all over the world contacting, writing in the comments, sending emails. We're just growing and growing and growing. So we appreciate the love here on the UP, and we will see you next time. Go Timberwolves on Sunday, Game 7. So we're going to get ready for that. Lots of good content coming up. Be safe out there and keep watching the UP. We really appreciate the love. Thank you.
Powered by Riverside.